Coming up on MilCyberSync, the government striking a delicate balance between First Amendment rights and countering foreign disinformation. Also ahead, Space Force taking a galactic approach to cybersecurity. Those stories and more, so get ready to get in sync with MilCyberSync.
You're watching the MilCyberSync podcast with Nick Thomas and Layla Gulen.
Hello and welcome to the MilCyberSync podcast, reporting on the latest events happening in cyber news. I'm Layla Gulen. Your host, Nick Thomas, has the day off. And just a reminder, if you're listening to us on your favorite podcast app, make sure to like and subscribe. And if you're watching us on our YouTube channel, click on that notification bell for our latest posts. Also, if you'd like to donate to the MCPA, it's easy with Amazon Smile. If you click on the link below, you can start shopping, and a portion of your purchase goes to MCPA at no extra cost to you. Also, don't forget to use our CFC code 10386. Well, let's dive in. CISA will spend the next 3 years measuring the success of the government's effort to protect both publicly and privately controlled critical infrastructure from cyber attacks. CISA's strategy will involve performance goals that were due at the end of July under a national security memorandum addressing cybersecurity for industrial control systems used in critical infrastructure. Measuring progress in cybersecurity has been a notorious sore point from the start of targeted policy-making efforts on the issue going back to 2013. NIST started work on its landmark cybersecurity framework for critical infrastructure nearly a decade ago, when there was a push to evaluate the state of the entity's cybersecurity based on outcomes as opposed to the extent to which they implement specific controls to defend against attacks. The agency is planning to issue them sometime next month, which also happens to be Cybersecurity Awareness Month. According to a new report, the sharing of cybersecurity information across government has improved. Principal Deputy National Cyber Director Kemba Walden says attacks reported to the FBI by private sector companies occurred more quickly. The information is often used in investigations as well as among operational agencies, including CISA, to identify and attribute the criminal actor responsible. This, in turn, helps the victim rebuild critical infrastructure and recover assets. Walden says information sharing started to improve with the signing of the Cyber Incident Reporting for Critical Infrastructure Act in March and subsequent convening of the Cyber Incident Reporting Council in July. Funds for the Office of the National Cyber Director were appropriated in November and is now responsible for connecting all the operational cyber agencies government-wide. This improves agencies' cohesion and working with the Office of Management and Budget to ensure they're adequately funded to achieve cyber aspirations. Tech companies can assist ONCD by adopting a resilience by design approach with their products to protect against basic supply chain vulnerabilities, allowing agencies to focus on bigger challenges. Lawmakers and experts gathered at the Heritage Foundation this week to discuss the need for transparency as it pertains to the intentions of malign foreign influence campaigns. Congressman Mike Turner of Ohio is chairman of the House Intelligence Committee and says that foreign adversaries are looking for ways in which they can undertake nefarious activities or malign activities to try to destabilize or influence the American politic. The event focused on countering foreign disinformation while also safeguarding Americans' First Amendment rights. Attendees discussed how countries such as China, Russia, and Iran are using both interference and influence campaigns to sow discord across the United States and accumulate power and support on the global stage. The good news is that officials say for every 10 malign campaigns, only one is successful. However, efforts to proactively counter these campaigns are imperative to both getting ahead of foreign adversaries and to limit the spread of disinformation. The White House Office of Science and Technology Policy has voted in its new director. Dr. Arati Prabhakar has become the first woman, immigrant, or person of color to serve in this position. Prabhakar previously served as director of the Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency and as director of the National Institute of Standards and Technology. She was also the first woman to serve as NIST director and was unanimously confirmed by the Senate to lead that agency. OSTP was established by Congress in 1976. It was organized to maximize the benefits of science and technology to advance health, prosperity, security, and justice for all Americans. OSTP has worked under the current administration with the National Security Council to develop the American Pandemic Preparedness Plan and leads the White House's Cancer Moonshot Initiative. Dr. Prabhakar was confirmed in a 56-40 vote. Before we go to break, if you're listening to us on your favorite podcast app, make sure to like and subscribe. And if you're watching on YouTube, click on that notification bell for our latest posts related to everything military, cyber, and cybersecurity. When we come back, a tech billionaire heads to Ukraine on a mission to measure artificial intelligence and other new tech. We'll explain why after the break.
Today's network and security monitoring solutions are vulnerable to overload situations that lead to decreased visibility and undetected intrusions. Monitoring applications require hardware to keep up with real-time traffic analysis, making it complex and costly. Your security monitoring solutions may be unable to keep up during cyber attacks or traffic spikes, making intrusion more likely. A new approach is needed to increase network protection and visibility. Axellio simplifies and streamlines your network monitoring for critical security, network, and application analysis. Learn more at axellio.com.
Please consider donating to the Military Cyber Professionals Association. We are a 501c3 educational nonprofit charity with a volunteer-fueled staff. A great way to donate is through Amazon Smile. It will cost you nothing to use this service. Also, if you're active duty military or a federal employee, we are on the Combined Federal Campaign pre-approved list. Consider a one-time donation or spread out across pay periods. Every little bit helps. Our CFC number is 10386. Thank you for your consideration.
The National Security Agency and CISA have published a cybersecurity advisory this week that highlights the steps malicious actors take to compromise operational technology, industrial control system assets. Titled Control System Defense, Know the Opponent, notes the increasing threats to OT and ICS assets that operate, control, and monitor day-to-day critical infrastructure and industrial processes. Cyber actors, including advanced persistent threat groups, have targeted OT ICS systems in recent years to achieve political gains, economic advantages, and possibly to execute destructive effects. Defenders are urged to employ mitigations listed in the advisory to limit unauthorized access, lock down tools and data flows, and deny malicious actors from achieving their desired effects. The digital information environment and continued spread of misinformation has become the new wave of major national security challenges. According to a new Government Accountability Office study, the U.S. Department of Defense's warfighting and intelligence operations are largely based on data collection and an interconnected information environment. Officials have profiled 6 areas that could benefit from increased data oversight and protection, including misinformation and disinformation, effects on DoD missions and functions, threat actors, threat actions, institutional challenges, and emerging technologies. These threat areas can be exploited to undermine DoD missions and operations, particularly through malicious cyber activities against federal networks, illegal data harvesting, and attacks on the electromagnetic spectrum. While the concept of cognitive security is not technically new, its application in how military leaders perceive information and the subsequent impact on national security has been given a fresh emphasis. Speaking of the latter, U.S. Army Cyber Command is deploying expeditionary cyber electromagnetic activities teams. These teams will support tactical commanders at National Training Center rotations. CEMA is an Army initiative designed to provide tactical commanders with integrated cyberspace operations, Department to Defense Information Network operations, electronic warfare support, and information operations support effects. Our cyber used the lessons learned from the past 9 NTC rotations to determine the optimized force structure they're proposing to the Army. This will ultimately streamline the various commands under a single one with SEMA capabilities tailored to meet the tactical commander's objectives. It's been reported that multiple branches of the U.S. military bought access to the augury monitoring tool developed by the cybersecurity firm Team Cymru. Motherboard has uncovered documents that show U.S. Senator Ron Wyden was contacted by a whistleblower alleging that the Navy's civilian law enforcement agency used the tool without a warrant. Augury claims to cover more than 90% of global internet traffic. It allows analysts to follow activity of a cyber actor and attribute attacks through petabytes of packet capture data. The Department of Defense Office of the Inspector General said it's investigating the whistleblower report. Google's former CEO made a 36-hour visit to Ukraine this month to assess technology's role in the war. Eric Schmidt met with senior Ukrainian officials to find out what the tech industry did to help the war-torn nation. The billionaire has invested in military technology startups and has served on influential federal boards advising the U.S. government on adapting more artificial intelligence and other new tech. Satellites, drones, artificial intelligence, and cyber capabilities have been central to the war in Ukraine since the first days of Russia's invasion. New technologies have been working in concert with traditional military hardware, empowering Ukraine's pushback against Russia. The Federal Communications Commission has banned 2 entities associated with China from providing telecommunication services in the U.S. Huawei and ZTE will be restricted from accessing the U.S. market going forward. Earlier this year, the FCC revoked China Unicom Americas and PacNet Comnet's authorities to provide service in the United States. The FCC's action is based on letters it received in November 2020 from executive branch agencies responsible for reviewing foreign investment in the U.S. for national security threats. Officials say the 2 providers pose an unacceptable risk to the national security of the United States or the security and safety of U.S. persons. And finally, today, the U.S. Space Operations Command says it's preparing and posturing for a potential fight. Major General Douglas Scheiss says the agency is assigning cybersecurity and intelligence specialists to work side by side with satellite operators so that they're better prepared to protect U.S. systems from electronic and physical threats. Scheiss is Vice Commander of the Space Force's Space Operations Command and also oversees U.S. Space Command's Combined Forces component at Vandenberg Space Force Base in California. The Space Force is also adding intelligence detachments to satellite operations units to ensure operators get accurate information about possible threats. This in response to Pentagon concerns about Chinese and Russian anti-satellite weapons. Space Operations Command is based at Peterson Space Force Bay, Colorado. It also has several squadrons of cyber specialists that support military units that operate communications, surveillance, and navigation satellites. More will be added over the coming year to ensure all satellite units have adequate cyber defenses. Well, if you're in the car listening and would rather watch, be sure to check us out on our YouTube channel. You can find us at Military Cyber Professionals Association or MilCyber.org for all our content related to all things military cyber and cybersecurity. And be sure to like and subscribe. Be sure to click on that notification bell for our latest posts. Also, if you'd like to donate to the MCPA, it's easy with Amazon Smile. And if you just click on that link below, you can start shopping, and a portion of your purchase goes to MCPA at no extra cost to you. Also, don't forget to use our CFC code 10386. Well, that's going to do it for me. I want to thank you so much for watching and listening. You are now in sync with MilCyberSync. We'll see you again next week.
This has been the MilCyberSync podcast, brought to you by the Military Cyber Professionals Association. If you're listening to us on your favorite podcast app, make sure to like and subscribe. And if you're watching us on YouTube, click on the notification bell for our latest posts.
Please consider donating to the Military Cyber Professionals Association. We are a 501c3 educational nonprofit charity with a volunteer-fueled staff. A great way to donate is through Amazon Smile. It will cost you nothing to use this service. Also, if you're active duty military or a federal employee, we are on the Combined Federal Campaign pre-approved list. Consider a one-time donation or spread out across pay periods. Every little bit helps. Our CFC number is 10386. Thank you for your consideration.